Max Maher asks, hey JB and Blunty, I have a Jumper T20 and was curious, how do I know the best settings as far as packet rate, telemetry ratio, switch mode? I'm guessing the higher TX power, the better. Max, I'll give you some basics here. Telemetry ratio, set it to standard. That's it. Don't think about it ever again. The standard telemetry, like there are some rare edge cases where you would need to manually set the telemetry ratio. In general, set it to standard. Don't ever think about it ever again. Unless if you are racing and you want the absolute most consistent packet rate and you don't need telemetry, then set it to off. Because what happens is every time telemetry packets are sent, there is a very brief interruption in the packet stream, and that some people might feel that they don't like that, like slight inconsistency. But set the telemetry to standard. As far as switch mode goes, good news, set it to wide. Never think about it again. Great. Hybrid switch mode is archaic, and I can't really think of a reason why anybody would need to do it. Just set the switch mode to wide, leave it.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah,
what is standard telemetry ratio? What does that mean?
So standard telemetry, good question, Blunty. So the telemetry ratio is, so let's say you've got a packet rate of 50 hertz, right? So there is 50 packets sent per second, right? The telemetry ratio is what percent of those packets are going to be telemetry packets. And a telemetry packet means that the transmitter pauses and the receiver sends a telemetry data back, right? So there's an interruption in the control packet flow. And so the telemetry ratio is literally just a ratio. It's a divider. So if we had, let's keep the math simple. If we were at 100 hertz and we had a telemetry ratio of 1 over, it's the math isn't that simple because it's going to be 1 over 16 or 1 over 8. So it would be 1 every 12.5 packets if it's 1 over 8. But here's the thing. The reason that it's weird is that as your packet rate goes up, your telemetry rate also goes up, which is kind of pointless. Like, you need telemetry updates coming in every, once a second or twice a second or 10 times a second. But that's just fixed. So the problem used to be that as you went to a higher packet rate, you would have to manually change to a lower ratio so that you are now at 1,000. You go from 100 hertz to 1,000 hertz. And then you'd have to take your packet ratio down by 10 to keep the rate at which the telemetry packets came in the same. What standard does is it automatically adjusts the packet ratio based on your packet rate, the telemetry ratio. It automatically adjusts the telemetry ratio based on your packet rate so that the rate at which the telemetry packets come in stays the same. And you just set it to standard and you leave it alone and it's fine. So telemetry ratio, switch, Blunty, is that the question you were asking?
Yeah, so basically you're saying instead of a number in there, you'll set standard, and that standard will change based on what's happening. Is that correct?
It'll change based on your packet rate automatically instead of you having to do it manually. The only reason you would ever do it, you would ever change to a manual packet ratio, is if for some reason you knew that you wanted telemetry packets to come in particularly fast or particularly slow. Now, why would you want that? I have no idea, and most people wouldn't. The last one is going to be... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And then I would also just ask, is that a 3.0 thing?
It is a 3.0 thing. So before, and I took that as given because I'm hoping that these days everybody's on ExpressLRS 3.0. But before ExpressLRS 3.0, the standard packet rate didn't exist. The standard telemetry rate didn't exist. So yeah, you do need to be on 3.0. Yeah. So then packet rate. The higher the packet rate, the lower the latency, but also the shorter the range. I find that 250 hertz is a good balance for what I do. If all you ever do is close-up racing, then you could go all the way up to 1,000 hertz, but the range is significantly slower. Significantly lower, but the latency is significantly faster. And then the higher the TX power, the more range you get, but it also wastes your battery. So again, if you're racing, you might stay at 25 milliwatts because you just don't need a shitload of range.